Hello everyone, I'm Abby Dolliver, Superintendent of Norwich Public Schools. Welcome to the Dear Abby Dolliver Show. We are so thrilled to have a panel of people with us to talk about our programs for ESL bilingual students, whether they're young students in our elementary schools or adult students in our adult education program. So we're going to start our conversation with Mrs. Osko, who happens to be the director of all of these programs, not adult ed, but actually I think I'll start with everybody introducing themselves. So why don't we do that first? Go ahead.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I am Sheila Osko, and I am the Director of Language and Translation Services, which encompasses ESL, bilingual, and world language.
For
and translation services for K-8.
Pre-K-8, really?
Pre-K-8, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Nickle, and I'm the ESL bilingual teacher at Stanton Elementary School, and I teach 3 through 5.
3 through 5th. Great, thank you.
My name is Mariela.
Can you talk loud?
My name is Mariela, and
What grade?
I'm in 3rd grade
At what school?
at Stanton School.
Thanks so much for being here. We're glad to have you.
My name is Cheryl Egan, and I'm the ESL coordinator for Norwich Adult Education, which encompasses a 12-town region, and we have satellite sites and sites in our classes at our Greenville site for adults.
For adults, great.
Yes, my name is Jocelyne. I'm a student of Norwich Adult Education.
Great. In a particular
School.
program?
It's good. Oh, the ESL.
ESL program, of course. Okay, thank you. And everybody has to speak up into their mic, okay? Because we want everybody at home who's watching to be able to hear all the great things that you have to tell us. So let's back up a little bit, Mrs. Osko, and have you talk a little bit with us about what you do for the district. And we only have a half an hour, so.
Okay, so I'll make it short and sweet because we know that we have a lot of people that would like to talk and talk about the program.
Mhm.
So basically we run an ESL and a bilingual program, and we work with our students that are coming as new arrivals into the United States and into Norwich specifically, and we also work with our students that are coming from families that are speaking primarily one language at home or a mix of the two languages.
Mhm.
So that's basically what we're doing within the ESL and the bilingual program.
Can you give us an idea, and maybe you will as we move along, some of the countries that our students come from?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
We have students, our primary languages are Spanish, Haitian Creole, followed by Cantonese and Mandarin, and also Cape Verde. So we have a lot of languages. Our students are coming from Puerto Rico, from the Dominican Republic. They come from Haiti, from Cape Verde, from Portugal, from France. We have students that are representing over 25 different countries within our program. So it does seem like it would be a challenge on how do you speak with all of these children and all of these 25, 26 different languages. But we make it work because of the program that we do offer at Norwich Public Schools.
That's great. Now, I know people ask me often, you have people who speak all of those languages, 25 countries, and of course not. But we know you speak several. We know other people do. So talk to us a little bit about what languages you speak.
Well, at home we speak Arabic, and we do speak some French at home. So we have obviously the English, the Arabic, and the French. I do fairly well with Spanish and Italian and some Portuguese, but it's something that I love because I love cultures and I love exploring other lands, and I'm fascinated with people that are coming into the United States that are speaking other languages. So if I ever have a chance to learn it in spare time, it's something that I want to do. I want to learn the language and the culture.
That's great, because really we do celebrate all the different cultures and languages that we have in our district. So you kind of gave us an overview of our district demographics. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, if we talk about a district, we have over 26% of our families are speaking a different home language other than English. So that means that children are going home to either a combination, like I said, of English and another language or strictly another language. So that's a quarter of our district that have different home languages. For our ESL students, and they speak 36 different languages. Our ESL students speak 26 different languages, and that makes up 16% of our population within the district, with Stanton schools themselves having over 30% of their population being identified as English language learners.
We talked a little bit about, the various languages, and then we talk about the challenge of translating, so that if we're talking to parents or students who generally speak another language other than English at home, or read another language, how do we kind of reach all of our families, or how do we try to? I know that's a challenge.
It is a challenge, but we make it our mission because we have the strong belief that if we get parents and families involved, the parents, the children, the extended family, the community, if we can get everybody involved in a child's education, then we know that this child is going to be well prepared for life, and that this child is going to do very well academically. So to this end, we make it our mission to make sure that we are communicating with parents in a language that they can understand. Because if you don't feel welcome to go into a school and you don't have anybody who's speaking your language or any way to be understood or to understand, then it'll turn somebody off. And we want everybody to be
wanna
part
be
of our
so
family.
welcoming, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have a translation service called Sericom. And we just pick up the phone. They have 169 different languages, and we call them and we say, we need somebody who speaks Tibetan, or we need somebody who speaks Urdu. And they will immediately connect us with somebody who speaks that language. So we can either do a three-way call to the parent, or if the parent's actually in the school, have the conversation through an interpreter. And we also staff our buildings with at least one other person who speaks another language beyond English, so that if they're in cases of emergencies or other situations, PPT meetings and conferences, we make sure that we have somebody there that has that face-to-face conversation as well. Notices are going down home in our primary languages, which are Haitian Creole, Spanish, and Chinese, and also phone messages. The phone messages
Yes.
that you put out, we also make sure that they're in those main languages that are our top
We
languages
couldn't
in
do
the
every
district.
language, but we try to do as.
No, we don't have everybody, but
And actually, I used Sericom last week. A mom came in to meet with me, and I needed to make sure that we had a good conversation. So I said, wait a minute, and I dialed in, and it worked perfectly.
Very
Because we
easy.
had the relationship anyway, and then I could make sure that we both knew what each other wanted.
right.
So I
It's
think
the
we'll
best
come
way
back-
to do it.
Yeah, it's the right way to do it.
It is.
We're going to come back to students monitoring and all that in a little while, because I want to
Perfect.
hear a few other things. But Ms. Nickle, so talk to us about what brought you to this field, bilingual education, and what it's like really to be over there teaching wonderful students like we have here.
Well, I'm first generation born in the United States. My family immigrated from Cuba close to 60 years ago. And they came, and especially my mom had a very difficult time in learning English. She was a little bit older. So when I went to school, I didn't know any English. All I knew was Spanish, and it was very scary for me. And there weren't any bilingual programs when I started school. So I became bilingual on my own, with speaking Spanish at home, English at school, and I just love students and their different cultures and their different languages, but also a way of making it easier for them to be successful in their education.
That's great. So I know you're in a center. We don't have centers in every building. We don't. So do you know the difference? Can you explain the difference for someone who's maybe in a center than someone who's not in a center?
Right, so we have a bilingual Spanish center, meaning that we have two teachers that speak Spanish in our building. We also have a paraprofessional that speaks Mandarin and Cantonese, and we have another paraprofessional who speaks Haitian Creole. So we're able to service with bilingual instruction for these students of these languages. So, for example, I have students like Mariela, who came to our country. So she's been here less than 30 months, so she would qualify as a center student. And being that she speaks Spanish, so I would be able to give her instruction in her language to better her
Is
understanding.
Mariela's home school at Stanton would be a different school? So we send students from other district schools that don't have a center to Stanton to access your services, right?
We have been doing that, yes.
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 Okay. So, I guess, what does a typical day look like for a student who's in a center? Because they have a regular classroom assignment,
Right.
and they also have their center assignment. So how do you juggle all that and communicate?
Well, it's not easy scheduling all of the students that we have. We do have, I believe we have about 110 students at Stanton Elementary alone. So we work closely with the classroom teachers. So a student will start out their day in their classroom, and then we bring them into our center or support with our support staff or myself for 30 to 45 minutes a day. If they're center students, they need a little bit more help. If special projects come up, then definitely we give them a lot more support, make sure that they are successful with their project. Just now, third grade is working on researching the town of Norwich. So each of the
That's great.
students has a different place of interest that they're working on. So, we help them with their writing, with their research, and just making sure that they are successful.
Thanks. I'm going to skip to Mariela
Yes.
for a moment. So, how is it being in the United States? People probably ask you that from El Salvador. Is that where you came from? How was that change for you? Can you talk loud? Okay.
Well,
That's all right. If it's a hard question, let's talk about what it's like being at school in the center in Miss Nickle's class. Does that help you in school, being in the center?
it helped me a lot.
It did help you a lot. When you first came to Stanton School, did you speak English?
No.
No? So what about now? Do you feel like you're pretty good at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about reading?
Good.
Good? And what made the difference? How did you learn to do that?
Well,
Did you get help in school?
yeah.
Yeah. So you get help in the center, right?
Mhm.
And then you go back to your regular class?
Yeah.
And then if you need help on a project, are you working on any projects together right now?
Yeah.
Which one?
What are you researching?
What do you research?
Mohican Park.
Mohegan Park. Oh, that's a great
Nice.
research. Have you ever been to Mohegan Park?
Yeah.
So so you're doing research about it, and so how is Miss Nickle helping you with that?
Well, we go on iPads and research.
Research, great. And then you bring what you learn back to your regular classroom? That is great. What's your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is math and science.
Oh, math is a great choice. Great
Yes,
choice.
Good choice.
And it seems to me that you're a hard worker. I would guess that. Is that true?
She
Yeah.
is a very hard worker.
That's great. We're so glad and we're happy that you're here to talk with us. We're going to move on to adult ed. I just want to make sure we leave time for everybody to have a little voice. So talk to me a little bit about the program for ESOL at adult ed and how it came around. And you've been there for a while, so talk a little bit about that.
Well, I came on board in ESL in 1999, although I worked at adult ed before then. And I think part of the reason that it intrigued me so much was growing up, I grew up in a military household, so every 2 or 3 years we moved, and I always felt like I wanted to be welcomed in a community of especially a school community. So I feel like that's something that students want. Our adult ed center is in Greenville. We do have classes in the morning and in the evening now. We offer 10 hours of class during the day and 6 hours at night. We have a couple of satellite sites. I think the goal for most of our students is either a type of workplace goal, advancing in their jobs, getting a job, being the parent that they want to be so that they can communicate with their children, and also just being part of the community life, whether it's getting their citizenship or being able to do all the things we kind of all take for granted in the community. Like the statistics that Sheila gave you are mirrored in adult ed.
Mhm.
Most of our students are either from Haiti, the Spanish-speaking countries, and China. We do have a few other countries, Cape Verde, Vietnam, Laos. Our students are wonderful, like, you know, and you know, all the ESL teachers feel that way. One of the students today, Jocelyne, is in our level 4 class. And the morning classes, we have 4 levels of ESL. In the evening, we have 2. And at our satellite sites, we have multi-level classes.
So is it similar to, I mean, it's their only class, it's not like they would go back to a regular class, but
Right.
in terms of trying, as Ms. Nichols does, to support students in learning English. That's really the focus?
Yep. When a student walks in the door, depending upon their level, some students walk in and have no English, and you know, we look at them and say English classes, and they say yes, and then there's everything from that level up to someone who is more advanced,
Right.
and you know, their goals may be a little bit different. Classes are usually 3 hours long. We call it contextualized classes, which means that we'll teach health literacy, we'll teach technology literacy, we'll teach workplace skills in the context of reading, writing, speaking, and listening.
That's great. So now you heard Mrs. Egan talk about the program, so now I want to hear from you, Jocelyne, right?
Yeah.
Jocelyne?
Yeah, I'm the student from
Yeah.
Norwich.
So where did you come from originally?
I was in Haiti, but I was in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yep.
Yeah, but I moved here last year. So when I was working and I see the Norwich Education Adult School, so I was interested to come. But when I go in there, so it was a very, very, very excellent place for me to be.
Great.
Because he helping me a lot, you know. But because I've been always thinking about to go to school, but since I never have a chance.
Yes.
But so I was so happy last year when I came in there, so I find a space. He's helping me a lot.
That is great.
Yeah.
So what difference in your life overall do you think it's made for you? Like, what doors?
Different here. Look at here, I'm here today.
You're here on TV, I know.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And you're speaking with us in English and doing a fine job.
Yeah.
And I know you're a student who really works hard at, you're
they work
committed
very
to it.
hard to help us, yeah.
Right.
Attendance can sometimes be a challenge for adults. I sometimes tell the students that we understand how hard it is, you know, to be able to come to school every day, and that sometimes the teachers aren't
Yes.
able to do that. So, and Jocelyne actually got an attendance award this year for her excellent
Very
attendance.
nice.
And I know, having attended adult education graduation this week, or was it last, what?
I know.
Yeah, it was last week.
Last Thursday,
Last
yes,
Thursday.
yes.
It was very meaningful, because I think most adults make a commitment like you did to
Yeah.
go to school for whatever reason, and so many of them, through the support of our program, have done that and been successful. So it's great.
And Jocelyne has a child in the Norwich Public Schools.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Oh, great. What school?
NFA.
Yeah, great.
She's a senior. I have teachers.
And teachers too? Sixth grade academy too? Well, we're glad to be partners with you. I guess, Ms. Egan, that's one of the things I wanted to ask is, do we have a lot of students who have students, adult students who have students in our programs?
We do. The day programs, the numbers are about 100 plus, nighttime at about 50 plus. Of those, about 80% are
Wow.
parents of children in the Norwich Public Schools.
Yeah.
So it is great to have
It is.
that, as Sheila talked about, the parents, you know, that connection.
A partnership. That's great, because you can help your student if we help you, and vice versa. So
Yeah.
it's great. Ms. Nickle, could you give us an example of one student who has been so, I mean, I know you have a lot of successful students, but something that shines, and I know we do assessments, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We'll back up to that. But
Sure.
what,
I have a particular student that comes to mind, and she came from Haiti in second grade. She came in January of that year, and she was proficient in her language, and she just took off, and she did such a wonderful job of acquiring the English language. And she did a fabulous job. She left us this year, and she's at UNCUS, I believe.
She
I'm
is.
sad.
Oh, so
So
what?
she's still in our district, but she
Right.
left my school and she
Mhm.
moved to the UNCUS area.
Mhm.
But she's doing a fabulous job.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
She
That's
is.
great.
It
So
was very exciting to
That's
see.
good to see progress, like.
Like Mariela.
Like Mariela.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Mrs. Osko, talk to me a little bit, to us a little bit about the process for monitoring. You talked about, well, they were in the she was in the center and did so great that now not anymore. So talk to us a little bit about that process of
Right.
registering, how you figure out who goes in the center, who doesn't, and how they move out,
Right.
even though we don't want them to.
I know.
We
that's our
don't,
goal,
we
but-
don't. We'd love to keep them forever, but unfortunately, we can't keep them forever. So when a child comes to us, when they reach the registration center, they're giving a home language survey that has 3 questions. And the questions are, what language does your child first speak? What language do you speak to your child? And what language does your child respond to you in? So if any of those answers triggers a language other than English, then the child automatically gets not identified but tested for possibly being identified as an English language learner. So once they do get identified, if they're not proficient on the test, then we do call the parents in and we have a parent meeting. We explain the different programs depending on the school that the child is in. So because we have center schools, we felt that it was very important to invite children that are newcomers to the country to be a part of the center, because they do have extended time in the center for working on specific English language function and language structures that other kids already know because they were born in the United States and they were raised speaking English. So they would either be invited to the center or they would be invited for ESL support, or the parents can refuse all services, which means they would be in the mainstream, sink or swim, you either make it or you don't make it. But with the goal of making sure that our children acquire English as well as content. So we can't give up one for the other one, because if we just say we're going to teach you English and only English, what happens to the content in the academics? Are they going to have 3, 4, 5 years where they're going to be behind? So we need to make sure that we blend the two, that they're picking up the English and they're learning content to be successful in class so that they can move on to subsequent grades. So that's what happens there. Now, as far as monitoring, we use all the same district assessments. We follow the Smarter Balance like the state demands that we do, but we have an additional assessment called the Lost Links, and that is looking at English language proficiency. So once a year, they take the English language proficiency test, and it's on a scale of 1 to 5. And students that score 4 or 5 overall, a 4 or 5 in reading and a 4 or 5 in writing, then are formally exited from the program. But they're monitored for 2 years, so at any time, if they start to struggle, we can pull them back in and we help them because we want them to be successful
Absolutely.
at any time. Yeah.
So parents have to agree that
Yes.
students will be in the center, and obviously we encourage that so that
Yes.
we can get to English pretty quickly and help and support. But
Correct.
what I was interested to know is, what's your favorite part of school? I already asked you about your favorite subjects, but what's like the best thing about school for you? Can you think of something?
It can't be lunch.
Recess?
It can't be lunch.
Is it recess? It's too hard, is that, okay.
Recess.
Recess? You like being with the other students, I bet, and playing, and I bet you're a very good friend to people. Yeah, that's great. And is there anything you want to add about coming to the country, being an adult ed, what it's added to your life? You kind of started there, but I don't know if you...
Yeah, so, like I said, so, but because I have one person, so she was living in my house too, and she wasn't be able to pay the rent, but she was going to adult education when she graduated high school.
Nice.
That's great,
Yeah.
that's great.
That pushing me to, I say, if she can manage to pay bills, she go to school and graduate. About me, it's my let me go and enjoy it at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, I might go to school even I'm not going to work yet, so I'm going to go to school and, get something from my life.
Okay,
Good.
that's great. And what a role model for your children
Yes.
and others too. It's just great. Mrs. Egan, any great story you want to tell? I know there's a lot. but-
Yeah, there are always wonderful stories, as Maria said, students that get their citizenship, and that can be a struggle, students who advance in their jobs. One of the students that graduated last week, Bo Wang, was
Yes.
a student that began in ESL when we used to have 6 levels. She started at the very beginning, advanced through the levels, joined the high school credit program, eventually finished that and graduated, and just shined.
Yes,
you
she
know.
won several
She
awards
did, she
at
did.
graduation.
And it's not uncommon for the students for whom that is a goal.
Right, and she's in college already.
Yes, she is, yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
That is something.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So,
phenomenal.
is that a goal for you to go to college or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
You will.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet. That's all right. We'll see. We'll
Working
be
on
at
it.
your graduation.
Yes, we will.
Any great story you would like to share, Ms. Nickle, about some successes or excitement in your program? I'm sure there's a lot.
I think for me, I
Yeah.
love to see the relationships that the children form,
Mhm.
especially the children that do not have a common language other than English.
Mhm.
A couple of years ago, I had a student from China
Mhm.
and a student from the Philippines, and they became the best of friends. And they both helped each other with the English language, and it was such a nice bond that they formed. You know, they were both struggling, you know, learning English. They both had a different language, but they did a great job
That's great.
in their success. And I believe that they should be in maybe 8th grade this year, 7th or 8th.
Yes.
7th or 8th?
Maybe
They,
eighth.
8th grade, they are
That's
in,
great.
they are in
Yes.
8th grade.
Yes.
And one has actually exited the program this year. So they
And
do
I-
great.
It's great. And I know sometimes there are, you know, people have opinions of, oh, you know, people should know English or you know, why are we putting all this effort into teaching our students English? And but it's the right thing, and you hear these stories and you see our students who are so successful in your work with them. Any quick thing you want to add, Ms. Osko?
I do. I do hear that comment a lot of they should know English when they come here, and they need to learn it. Well, they all want to learn it, but it takes time to learn a language, just as if we're traveling to another country, and not necessarily to study, but we should also make the attempt at that language. So all of our students come and they want to learn English, and they work very, very hard at it.
Yep.
And they transfer skills that they already have. So if they're already literate in their own language, then it's just a matter of transferring those skills to English, and it's phenomenal.
I know, and I think it's a gift to us, those of us who speak English only, pretty much, to hear other languages and to learn about other cultures. Every time I hear another story or talk to someone, it's really a gift to me and to everyone else. So
It is.
I really thank you all for being on our panel today. It's great to have students from all of our programs and our staff who work so hard. And I thank the audience for watching. Also encourage you to check out Norwich Public Schools website for more information about young student programs and adult programs. And we thank you all very much for tuning in. Have a great day.